This meeting is being recorded.
Right. I would like to have the
Yeah, you can go to the share screen share option.
share screen.
And,
Yes, thank you.
Presentation.
All right. Okay. I think I'll read from the slide. Yeah. Now, again, I have a little. I took a few minutes to organize my computer and the Zoom presentation. Today, I'm giving this presentation from Dhamrivi Foundation in Nisipatana Road. Can you see my slide? Can you see my slide?
no, we cannot see, but you have to click the share screen button and then the desktop will appear.
I need to get myself focused onto the screen, I think, or my slide.
No.
Yeah, so there's some problem here. Share.
Yeah.
Apparently,
okay.
yeah, the screen sharing facility has to be activated, I guess.
Yeah,
No,
you can now
we
share.
can see your desktop now. You
Uh-huh.
do that. The only thing you have to do now is that just open your PowerPoint.
Sure.
You can share. That's not correct. Without the co-host, you can share. You are actually already sharing your screen.
Okay. The slide. I have to get the slide.
Yeah, it's just a matter of opening your PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
We can see your desktop. Yes.
Right.
Now here you are. Yeah. So then, if you can kindly make it to the full screen, then everyone. Dr. Mallika,
The full screen.
make
Yes,
full
yes.
screen.
I'm trying.
To be at the right side of your bottom of your
How do you get the full screen?
Yeah, full screen is that you have to go to the slideshow in the right,
That's it.
perfect. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so I'm through now. Thank you again, once again. As Dr. Manori mentioned, my topic is Buddha's teachings on happiness, specifically focused on the lay person, the families, the communities. So my experience with research on this topic was taken place when I was studying for my diploma in Buddhist studies at the Karunaratne University, Pali and Buddhist Studies Postgraduate Institute. So I actually thought that, this is very fascinating, for the person who is really living a lay life. And today we find that happiness is one of the main topics discussed in various fora. Especially the United Nations, more than 2 decades ago, discussed this development criteria, the measurement of development through statistics like gross GDP, gross domestic product, or gross national product. But this, the Oriental thought, especially directed, by the small country of Bhutan, about the importance of happiness, which cannot be measured through the development indicators, but for that there should be a different indicator. And they introduced gross national happiness as one of the very close to heart indicators, so that people, countries could be compared with this criteria. Unfortunately, happiness is something intangible. So therefore, we have to learn more how to become happy. In the environment, we find a lot of avenues that, our especially lay people can enjoy. They are very much in the areas of consuming various resources and comforts, maybe vehicles, maybe big homes, maybe films, but happiness is something which is felt in the mind of the person. So the teachings, Buddhist teachings, talk about happiness in a very important way. So the first Buddhist mission, the 60 monks that after the Enlightenment, Buddha addressed them, which gives us the focus of Buddhist teachings, and its relevance to the society. So Buddha addressed these 60 monks, saying, "Go forth, charata bhikkhave, go forth, charikang, bahujana hitaya, bahujana sukhaya, attaya hitaya, deva manusana." So that captures in a nutshell the elevation of a person in the Dhamma is it should be for the peace, happiness, well-being, whatever you mention in English terms, it is for the attaya hitaya, hitaya sukhaya. Hitaya, sukha meaning the comfort. Sukha, we also translate it as happiness. There are so many words used in the teachings, especially where we all comfortable with Dhammapada. There are several sections about discussing importance of happiness or the comfort or the association. So there are different aspects. So I really want to go through some of the sections of Tripitaka and share the thoughts with regard to the topic, as it relates to the lay people. So I will just go to the second slide, where the Buddhist teaching is not only for next life. Buddhist teaching is very much for the life here and now. So when we do meditation, we focus our mind to this moment, here and now. So Buddha's teachings also have a bigger component, a large section of the teachings focused on this life, and also the people. Generally, the Deva Manusanang is the word that is being used. So there are human beings as well as celestial beings. So the guidance contained in the Tripitaka has two sections. I find two sections. One is the Vinaya Pitaka in the Tripitaka, Vinaya Sutta Abhidhamma. Vinaya Pitaka mainly is for the monastic members, the nuns and the monks. So the rules there also laid down for the convenience, for the smooth functioning of the bhikkhu order. So the Vinaya Pitaka has many rules. They are written down in as they could be referred to on various occasions. So the bhikkhu order has to follow these rules so that there won't be any disputes or any hard burning as regards to the life of a bhikkhu or the society where the bhikkhus are being, very much part of the society. So Sutta Pitaka, meaning Vinaya Sutta Abhidhamma. Sutta Pitaka, you all know that it has 5 sections. So I find that some sections are very much related to a discussion about the importance of lay life. The lay person has to be living a full life. That is what Buddha wants the lay people to follow, and advice in various forms is given because there have been dissatisfaction, distress, and things like that, which you find when you read the Tripitaka. As I mentioned, the first 60 bhikkhus who took to the vision of the spreading the Dhamma, the Buddha told them to see to the happiness, please to see to the happiness, or not to suffer life as a suffering, Buddha told. So the suffering only can be understood when a person is pointed to the suffering in various its forms. So the Sutta Nipata has many sections in addressed to the various target groups. So I want to go through with you some of these teachings in the Sutta Pitaka. So as I mentioned, the people are called Gihi Kama Bhogi. Gihi Kama Bhogi is this lay people. They have to enjoy their life. As we all know, we communicate with our 5 senses. So the sensual satisfaction is important for the lay people because they have to continue the community. So the production has to take place, community continuity of the generations, all that is within the domain of the lay people. So in the suttas, we find Buddha has addressed all those different, social groups, or the different active groups in society. So like the rulers, the kings, that Buddha addressed King Bimbisara, King Kosala, and there are whole sections in some Samyutta Nikaya where the King Kosala had been advised on the ways and systems of governance. The ministers, again, the rulers have sent their ministers to the Buddha for advice on various occasions when the problems crop up in governance or in any other area. So ministers had gone and sought Buddha's advice and came back and informed the king the necessary action. So as regards business, there is very big importance given to the business people in society because they are the live wire of production and all the economic progress of a nation. So among the business people, you find quite a number of names mentioned, but of the most important is that Sudatta or the Anathapindika. And again in Sutta Nipata you can come across several sections how to maintain relationships with the community, the government, with the different sections of the ordinary people. So we'll find that it is very important in today's context because the whole entire world is now dependent on mutual activities with regard to commerce, trade. The global village is now being already we witness a global village. Something worse happening in one place is affected by another section. So the business people are very important. So in this case, I just want to make a remark when Sudatta his large wealth wanted to be shared. Buddha advised him. So the businessman, Anathapindika Situtuma, the Situ, he was asked, first you have to enjoy your life. Then only you have to think about your other things. So the first Attanang Sukheti Pineti. That means Sukha. The word for the businessman also with the cited. You have to pacify, you have to enjoy your life through business, business, through business opportunities. Then Samma Sukhang Pariharati. Again, you must, ensure that what you do as business must not be harmful, distressful to the other people. Then again, he was advised to pay to the various quarters, like to the taxes, and also give to religious people and so forth. I think these mentioned in certain areas. The householders, so many householders had met Buddha, and they had been advised in various ways. Brahmins had come. They also been advised. Buddha had gone to them. Actually, some of the householders did not want to come to Buddha, but Buddha had gone to them. So the youth, there are youth. Even the very first group of bhikkhus were mainly from the youth community. So destitute children, men. I think these are general remarks about happiness. The happiness is what we can now look at how happiness applies to the life of lay person as well as the other people. So in one of the suttas, I thought of quoting the comparison between the monk's life and the lay life. The monk's life is very, very smooth, not burdened with other things. So the monk's life is very easy and give enough time, give enough opportunities to reach the goal, which is Nibbana. Just like the swan is monocolor and it can fly, it can swim very fast. So the destination is too close. Whereas for the layperson, it is like the peacock. The peacock is very colorful, it's very heavy, and can't fly, can fly only short distances. So the lay life is actually handicapped by many obligations, duties, and so forth. So the Buddhist goal, Buddha's goal is to show us the extinction of defilements, that means burdens, defilements, and attain Nibbana. So Nibbana is actually the final bliss, which is the ultimate satisfaction of a person in the life. So with that mention, with that particular remark, I wanted to go to the details of couple of suttas and explain how various people of that society understood Buddha's advice and made their lives successful. So so let's take Sutta Nipata, which is actually one book in the Kuddaka Nikaya. So the Sutta Nipata is said to be containing very first utterances, the discourses of the Buddha, and in the third council, Sutta Nipata had been listed as as a section under the Kuddaka. Kuddaka is small sections, small text. So maybe, but I find all the suttas in the Sutta Pitaka, Sutta Nipata, are very much addressing the lay society. So there are areas like I have selected. Lay persons, his first objective is to live happily. for that, he needs means. So that means the material prosperity. How to gain material prosperity by a layperson is discussed in the Sutta Nipata. Again, the personality development and a person who is looking for material prosperity, who is aiming at gaining wealth, he must have qualities. He must have certain qualities. The qualities are also mentioned in this some of the suttas, and also he has to live a life with the relatives and the surroundings, neighborhood. So for that also Buddha gives guidelines. So in general, entire life process has many things to be applied by a person if we really read and understand the suttas in the Sutta Nipata. So I picked up a couple of suttas from the Sutta Nipata. The names are, probably you may have heard these. These are very short suttas. Maybe the Sutta Nipata comes in verses. There are no text, all are verses. The first one, I read out these things. Dhaniya Sutta. Dhaniya is a animal keeper, the cow. He raises cows. This Dhaniya is a young man with his family and children. So Buddha was in the vicinity of Dhaniya, where he was living. So there is a conversation between Dhaniya and the Buddha. That conversation will go back later. In that conversation, Buddha says, I am very free. In a rainy day, the conversation has taken place. There was a pouring rain, and Buddha was sitting under a tree, and with in a serene manner, without any not paying any attention to this pouring rain. But Dhaniya has seen the Buddha. He was so calm and quiet, and asked the Buddha, "Why are you in such a peaceful way? Within there is thundering shower." Then Buddha, says, the conversation says very nicely the Dhaniya's, assessment, Dhaniya's wealth. So his wealth are the family, the cows, the nice children and wife. So this conversation, I actually invite, the reader, the listeners to read, because it is so beautiful. The family is the main focus in the happiness of a layperson. So the family life, the wife, children, and their progress, and their wealth, and their comfort, they are growing, without any, disease and things like that. So that is one area where a layperson will be very happy. So if there are problems as regards the family members or even the relatives, then there is no happiness for that family. So I think that is why I selected Dhaniya Sutta. The other one is the Kasi Bharadwaja Sutta. Kasi is the ploughing, the farmer. This Bharadwaja are the noble class, and in this situation, in this sutta, the focus is that how to get started with the productive activity. Here in ploughing, this is one of the main livelihoods at that time. He plans out his farming very neatly. He knows where the field is, the nature of the field, whether there is enough water for ploughing, whether the ploughing the bulls or the buffaloes, whether they are in good health, and so forth. So that means if you get on with some activity or some profession, one has to be very smart to know, to find and to get what is exactly best. So this sutta tells us you can avoid failures and become sad if you don't follow a proper plan with regard to the farming activity. So the next one I selected is Parabhava. Parabhava Sutta is how to not fall into trouble or sorrow. In Parabhava Sutta, again, there are verses. I think we are all familiar, especially when we study Buddhism in school. The reasons for being, reasons that one may fall into distress or unhappiness. So there are so many areas. I just make a passing remark only with the Parabhava Sutta and also Vasala Sutta, how a person become low, inferior in his words and deeds. The other sutta is the Metta. Metta Sutta is very important. Metta Sutta is very important. We call it Karaniya Metta Sutta. Metta is friendliness. So your happiness in real life can be enhanced, can be multiplied if one really be concerned about Metta Sutta, Karaniyang Atta Kusala. You had to be professional, you had to be perfect. Atta Kusala. Kusala means skillfulness. So the one has to be skillful in having his own qualities enhanced, so that he will not have any problems with other people. He will be a very calm and quiet person, observing person, and developing his personality to the fullest. So Metta Sutta is one way that can really be guided one to become professionally, advanced person in his activities or in the society. So Alavaka Sutta is dealt with a very arrogant person. He is a leader of a clan, Alavaka. He was very proud of his position, and the Buddha went to Alavaka. And so Alavaka saw Buddha was, and he went to Buddha, Alavaka's residence or whatever place, and sat in his chair. So the Buddha did that purposely. Alavaka came and, had seen the Buddha, and he was so furious and asked the Buddha to get out. So Buddha quietly came out, and then Alavaka for a while, he told Buddha again, get in. Then Buddha did. So thrice Buddha did that, sitting back, coming out, again sitting, going in and sitting. So finally Buddha said that I'm not taking your advice anymore. So I will not, listen to you. Then Alavaka actually become very soft. So in society we find, in our social environment, we find people are very arrogant, and we like to react. So if you react in such a situation, there will be a big problem created for you and as well as for others. So the Alavaka Sutta I picked up because, of this, the way one should counter arrogance, or one should face a situation which we think very bad, very difficult, but keeping low profile. Keeping a low profile can make situation different for us. So other one is the Mangala Sutta. Again, we all know, I think this is the most important sutta for all of us, from birth to the death, all that is about birth, from childhood to the old age, if I may put it in a different way. From childhood to the old age, Mangala Sutta refers to certain, ways and means how to make one's life happy. the very first thing we know that asevanacha balana. So that means, as young age, you should have right company. Then you become a good person. If you have bad company, bad friends, and low environment, then you become sad, and maybe ultimately your life will be a mess. And so these have 6 suttas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 7 suttas. I invite my listeners to refer to. This is in the Buddha Jayanti Tripitaka. I am referring all of these suttas in Pali and Sinhala, not very much in English. So I'm putting my own words. Some words may not be actually properly giving the meaning, but when you yourself you can go through and learn more about these suttas and how a person can become his life happy by reading and by thinking of this and applying into one's life. I also took 2 other suttas from Majjhima Nikaya. Majjhima Nikaya, where Chulagosinga Sutta is a short. It's a long sutta, but it is actually about the companionship, the friendship. How can friendship become healthier for a community living? This sutta has 3 friends. Actually, those friends are in monks, the Buddha's relatives, Sakya clan. So they had gone to in grove or the Gosinga Salavana. That means Salavana, and they were meditating to become emancipation, aiming at emancipation. So Buddha visited these friends. And the conversation is very, very loving and very close to heart. So Buddha asking them many questions. I think that again tells us how we should maintain our encounters with even tender people. Like Buddha had gone to them, and Buddha was asking very close to heart questions. How are you? Have you had enough means? Have you got your meals? Like that, it's, I think in our society we don't hear much about asking a pleasantries. This exchange of pleasantries are not very much in our society, but this sutta, the Pali words are very nice. Kachite kamaniya. Are you all living in peace? Kamaniya. Kamati means, pardoning each other. So in a companion, in a society, when living in a community, there can be problems because all the people don't think alike. So Buddha is asking, Kachite kamaniya. Are you living peacefully? I mean, they are answering, yes. Yes, how do you live in such peaceful manner in this community among the 3 friends? So each those 3 monks, Anuruddha, Kimbila, Bhagu, they were saying very important. I think I have not really written it in my slide. So they were answering the Buddha. We are not thinking of ourselves. We don't let our wishes to come out, but we keep our wishes, hiding back in the mind, and we keep looking at what other person is thinking about. So our action, my action my action always is for the benefit of the other person. I'm trying to think for him, think on behalf of him. So I think these are very important, even in a school, in an office, in a public place. I think this criteria one must read very interesting, and you will find a lot of things to be understood in to improve their community living. I also cite this Chullakama Vibhanga Sutta. again, we all know this is about the diversity of the people in the social status. Even though we all go by our enhancing our skills, personality development and things like that, the karma, that means the past action, volitional action, has an important place in determining the condition, whether he lives in a happy life or a sad life. So I really don't want to deal with that. One can raise some questions. If there are questions, I can answer. The last one, my selection is not from the Tripitaka, but from the Visuddhimagga. Visuddhimagga is a commentary written by Buddhaghosa. There I have selected a particular paragraph. It's a long, big book. There we call Dasaka. That means decade of lifespan. Lifespan analysis. A lifespan analysis. It has details at the end. So I'm just introducing these suttas which I have selected to explain the happiness or avoiding sorrow in the life of a lay person. I'll move to the next section. There is a bit of darkness, not clarity in this sutta. The same thing I mentioned earlier. I'll read it out. Mangala Sutta is focusing on prosperity to be sought in the life from childhood to the old age. So we all know that. I have some verses selected, but I really don't think it is important to go into that. Metta Sutta again, as I mentioned, traits in personality development. That means developing skillfulness. And the Parabhava Sutta, Vasala Sutta I mentioned. The Kasibharabha Sutta, proficiency in what one does. So we talked about the agricultural livelihood activity. Alavaka, the technique of countering arrogance. Dhaniya Sutta, contentment in family life. The Chulagosinga Sutta, harmonious community living. Chullakama Vibhanga, here there's a little bit of detail here. Forces influence in the life at birth. So when a person is born, he or she has some age to be lived. So some people die as young, some people live long, over 100 years even. So in the sickliness or healthiness, attractive people, not much attractiveness. So the low, weak people or the strong people, so deprived and privileged in society, affluent and again destitute, so like that, foolish and intelligent. So such differences are, according to the Buddhism, has a role to play with the action, volitional action. So that may negate what I said earlier. So Buddha wanted us to develop our capacity, personality, and so forth. If karma has a determining role, so one may be wondering whether our effort would be fruitful. So again, the teaching says you can change your karma by doing good deeds, especially the merit, what you accrue, good merits, and the strength and the power accumulated can have a negative impact, or the positive rather can have a positive impact in reducing the negative karma, negative effects on person's life. I think Chullakama Vibhanga Sutta is a very important sutta to understand the differences in social life. I think we don't hear much, only we hear its karmic influence, but I think in our circle, we should more and more discuss this kind of sutras, so that will give some solace to the people, and also new format, or the out of the box thinking. In fact, yes, I should say that, as we have to look at from out of the box, because we think that Chullakama Vibhanga Sutta has only negative side. The next one, next slide, is again, I am referring to the Dhammapada, because it is important that we understand certain verses of the Dhammapada, because they are very relevant to the to one's day-to-day organization of day-to-day life. I have selected some verses from here and there. Sukhavagga, Attavagga, Lokavagga, Piyavagga. Those numbers are given in this slide. In general, these are all pointing to the direction of living a productive life here and beyond, and this life as well as the life after. The Attavagga is 12, section 12 of the self. The verse is in the other on the other side, but it says that Attanang Chepiyang Chanya. If one really likes oneself, he protects one. That means the self. If I think I am very important, I must protect myself. Then in the protection cannot come at the old age. Protection should come from the childhood and adulthood through to the old age. So Attanang Chepiyang Janya. That is the stanza. I think it is there in some place. The Lokavagga I selected again, the 172nd verse in the world. World, there's a meaning, a special meaning in this. The world is the self. World is the environment as well. That also talks about that means you have to attend things at the right time. That means if one really is unable to do things, proper things during the childhood, he or she can do them during the middle age, or even at the latest stage. So that means the time is very important, but at some or other, before you passing away, you have to become how do I say, become self-satisfied. Self-satisfied is the word. That Attana, the Sukhavagga. Sukhavagga is again number 204, happiness. This is there are 12 verses in that section. We all know that the Arogya Paramalabha, Santutti Paramadhanam, Vishwasa Paramanyati, Nibbana Paramasukang, the four greatest gains in life: health, mental ease, trustworthy associates, and freedom from defiling thoughts, defilements. So that's the explanation. And the Piyavagga, that is Piyavagga meaning the merits, the friendships rather. This verse I selected because now I'm going into the decade analysis. Decade analysis goes, lifespan is divided into 10 decades. The last decade is very important, so I thought that this verse to put it here. if one, I will tell the meaning first. Good merits of your thoughts and actions will be there to receive you at the next world. This is about the life after, as if were your closest relatives. So, tateva kata punyampi, if you do a lot of merits, good things, if you have developed your personal traits, personality, asmaloka panangatang, when you go to the next world, when you go in the sense your consciousness travels to the next world, when at that stage, punyani patiganhanti. Punyani, if you had done good merits, acquired good qualities, qualities in the sense of self-development, then those will come to receive you. How? Piyang nyating agatan. So like your closest relatives, your merits, your accumulated good karma will come to receive you. So I think most of our listeners are in the middle age. Mostly, I'm also in the old, closer to the 70s, in 70s. So I thought that this kind of stanzas really give us a lot of strength. It's a lot of interest in reading more and understanding more and making them applicable to our life. So the last slide is about the decade analysis. This is where I really wanted to focus up to the fifth decade, Panya Dasaka. So these dasakas, the Pali words are there, 0 to 10. Actually, those days, the Buddha Koshas, Venerable Buddha Kosha seen the people live for 100 years, but today I think in our setup it is somewhere around 79 or 80. So maybe proportionately we can make our calculations if one likes to do that. So 0 to 10 years is the tender age. That means Manda. Manda is not grown up, but is up to 10 years. Maybe today it's different. Today with the technology and all that, people have really, young children have become much more advanced. So they are guided by the electronic media, not very much by the parents. So I think we are different. But you have to really take serious note of the changes happening in societies, because when they grow old, when they become matured, I think they think differently. So perhaps that is, I think, part of the evolution. The learning age, kidda meaning the kidda is the Pali word, but it is Sanskrit. Krida, kilati, kilana age, kilati kyanne krida karna. So the kid age, 10 to 20, that is the adolescent age rather, and 20 to 30, youthful age, Vanna Dasaka, young youthful age, and 30 to 40, the consolidating age, the Bala Dasaka. These, then later on, after the 40 to 50 is the intelligence, the judicious age. That means you become very strong in society, like learned maturity, learning and experience. Learning and experience both counts. When you become matured and you have a lot of things to share with others. Then after 50, this is physical changes. I think here mostly referring to the physical changes happening in your body. So 50 to 60 Hayana. Hayana is actually declining in, I think, physical strength and our various limbs, and they have not become so strong as you were in the middle age, young age. Then 60 to 70 fragility. Pabangura again, our muscles become soft, and you begin changes like hair become white hair, and teeth different, and so forth. 70 to 8 age of crouching. I think those medical persons of course know these things better. but crouching, I'm just trying to introduce this, this classification. 80 to 90, age of forgetfulness. So that's very, very, very scary. When you grow old, you become more mover, more mere forgetful. I think today we find, words like, dementia and things like that. And the last lab, bedridden age, the Sayana Dasaka. So I think we have to work towards, understanding, sharing the Dasaka analysis. It may be, it can be looked at in different ways, but tender age, learning age, youthful, those three, decades, first 3 decades are very important. And as, elderly people, mature people, I think we have love to share our knowledge and experiences to help in the younger generation. So I think we can discuss how and all that later. The last slide, I'm showing. Let me. Okay. The next one. Excuse me. All right. So this is this slide shows to do what right thing at the right time. Again, I'm referring to 2 stanzas from the Attavagga 155 and 157. I only will read the English meaning. Having not acquired wealth in their prime age, one would languish like a feeble crane by a lake depleted of fish. Acharitva brahmacharyang aladhayobane dhanam chinna konchava jayanti kina macheva pallale. So other 157, if one is to be so dear, one should diligently protect it during one of the 3 stages of life: tender age, grown-up age, or fully grown age. The Pali stanza, Attanam chepiyang janya rakkeyanam surakhitam tinna manya taran jamang pati jaggeya pandita. I thought this the message to take home perhaps will have some importance here. The other one, next slide, I'm referring again to this decade analysis. This is an artwork done by one of my officers when I researched happiness in for my degree, for my diploma. So I came to the temple. This is a temple mural from the Isipatana Rama Pansala, Isipatana Rama temple. So she drew this. I took a picture of what was there at the mural, and she drew. It is very interesting. I thought that I must share this nice artwork. So from Manda, Kid, then One Dasaka, Bala Dasaka, and so forth. Finally, the Momuha and Sayana. So instead of bed, she has drawn this wheelchair. So I think she's quite advanced in her thinking. So I just, with respect to her, with my appreciation, she did this for free of charge. And so in order to give fair, the equality to the fair sexes, so this is again for the male part, that one is female. So you find this similar artwork. So I think this expresses mostly, what I was trying to express with regard to the physical growth, with regard to human life, and that also gives, a big message. So I think probably we can have more time for discussion. the very popularly known stanza in this in social life. For a person should have these things as importance in the Sukha Vagga. It is quoted. Even I would like to cite something by Professor Galmangoda. He says this gives some norm for the development of a society. The people should have living in good living environment where they can live happily, and also they should then a happy person will be a healthy person. So he analyzed it from the other side. So bodily health is the highest gain. It starts with that. Then contentment is the greatest fortune. That means to be happy, to be satisfied what one has, not to look for other things which you cannot afford. And honesty is the best companionship, especially your family or your environment. If you have good understanding, if you are honest, I think things will come in a big way, to your satisfaction. And the taint-free mind is the door to liberation. So that is my interpretation. So we are all trying to listen to Dhamma and understand some things from the Tripitaka. We may not be able to read all the sections of that. These are some. I picked up these relevant sections. There are more in the Tripitaka where one can find and add to this, or even subtract. So all that will lead to enhance our knowledge and food for thought. Suttamaya Panya, then Bhavanamaya Panya, then we can apply them in day-to-day life. So the knowledge and listening and also application is the part of the last slide. So I wish all of you for patience hearing, and also I think I was not very smooth in my presentation. I think I'm very I apologize for this thing. May you all enjoy good health and happiness. Thank you very much, Dr. Manaji. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mallika, for that. You brought in a lot of the lesser, of course, not the Metta Sutta and Mangala Sutta, but some of the other from the Sutta Nipata, which we don't hear often. What we normally hear is the Sigalo, in the Digha Nikaya, the long discourses, which are given like as ethics for a lay life. And at the end of it all, if you have read a writer's life, and number one, the Sila is there, and the Samadhi would help to appreciate and develop your mind and have happiness. So, but you have brought in a lot of other smaller suttas which we don't normally hear. So, thank you for that. And I will open the floor because time has caught up. We just have